Hello and welcome back to the CrossFit Harrow podcast. This is episode number 68 and we are joined by Sheena. Thank you for coming.
Hello.
You okay?
Yes, good. And
Good.
yourself?
I'm very well, very well. First question, always, why CrossFit Harrow?
So, as you know, obviously Rajan, my husband, he was doing CrossFit Harrow from Manchester. So he was part of CrossFit Harrow Manchester and he loved it, you know.
Wait, what do you mean CrossFit Harrow Manchester?
As in there was a CrossFit Harrow, not a CrossFit Manchester, sorry.
I was like, what? There's a new one I didn't know about?
Sorry, there was a CrossFit Manchester.
That he was going to?
That he was going to, and he really enjoyed it. So when we got married, I was like, oh, you know, I've had several personal trainers. I had about 5 or 6 personal trainers. So I spent a lot of money on personal trainers. And he said, oh, you know, let's try and give CrossFit a go. So there was CrossFit Kilburn and then there was CrossFit Harrow. I went to CrossFit Kilburn because I used to work in Kilburn when I used to work for the NHS. And I really liked it because they were talking to me about, you know, form. It was more about the form and how your form is more important rather than, you know, getting the reps in or whatever.
Did you not get that from your trainers?
No. So when I was part of my personal training, I used to dread going because there was every session I used to puke or he used to push me so much that I didn't really want to go to the session. So I eventually cancelled. And there was one specific personal trainer that kept nagging and kept contacting me saying, oh, you know, come back. And I just didn't want to do that. So it wasn't for me at that time. And then Rajan introduced me to CrossFit. He did an induction day with yourself and Paul.
Yeah.
And then I came along.
And now
he's gone.
He's gone, and you're still going strong.
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years.
Coming up to 4 years.
Yeah.
You said NHS.
Yes.
I used to.
So I used to work with the health visiting department.
The health
visiting department.
Okay.
So you know where you get newborn babies.
Oh right.
Weighing them, checking in with the mums.
Oh wow.
So I was doing that. And then that was literally when I came out of university, before I started teaching. And then I got an interview for both nursing and teaching.
At the same
time. My mum wanted me to go down the nursing route because she works for NHS herself.
Okay.
I wanted to do the teaching route. So I got an interview for both. I got a position for both, as in I got into both.
Wow.
But I chose teaching.
Do you regret that?
It's 50-50. When I first started teaching, you may know because obviously you're in the same industry, but when I first started teaching, it was very different to now. It's very results driven now. You don't really get a chance to, you know, plan your lessons, enjoy teaching with the kids. It's all about results. Why is
There's a lot of pressure, not necessarily on students, but also on teachers.
On teachers, yeah, and especially during COVID.
Dare we say it?
COVID, there's been a lot of pressure for teaching.
How have you coped with that pressure? Because obviously there's a lot of teachers that come here, and we get to, you know, hear how the different things that happen in different schools and stuff.
Yeah.
But how did you deal with it?
At first, it was a positive experience for me because I loved working from home. You know, I could do more being at home than being at school. I was getting through more work, you know, but then it hit a point where there was a low point where I was just getting really, really, you know, down at home. And I remember texting you a few times saying, I think mentally it was draining for me being at home because my husband's at home. I'm living with my in-laws as well, so it was a busy house as it is. And then he wasn't very active at that point. So when I was going for walks, he wasn't joining me in the walks. So it was just me on my own going for these walks because I couldn't meet up with anyone. So it was literally, I was just in my own world, really. I didn't really speak to many people from work. And at that time, the school wasn't allowing us to live stream our lessons. So all I was doing is putting the work by email, sending it off to them, and that's it. So yeah, there was a low point during the first lockdown, I would say.
I mean, the first one, I think people, I'm not sure what the right word or terminology is, but although it gave a lot of people a lot of time back and gave them a lot of control. I think there was an extensive period that after a while there was like, right, I am isolated, like you said. I don't think you're the only person to have felt that. It was becoming more apparent as well. It was obviously because we were doing bits and stuff outside. That was seemed to be the thing. But you know what, I've got to say, CrossFit, you know, got me through it because good. That makes me
one
happy.
of the achievements, and I know Key said to me as well, and you said to me as well, that home workouts, I was doing them literally every day, whether it would be, you know, in my sitting room, whether it would be in the garden, whether it would be in the kitchen. I think that was the saviour of my day.
Yeah, and it was something that looking forward to do. I know it was tough, like, you know, training from home is not for everyone, and I understand that. But it is making the best out of a bad situation.
Exactly.
For not you specifically, but generally, like, people have been training for like 10 years, 5 years or 3 years, and done such hard work. I think at the beginning, no one knew how long that first lockdown was going to be. So it's like, I'm not going to train from home. And it's like, yeah, but forget the principle that you're training at home. It's still exercise that you need to do. Yeah. And for people, that was a saviour.
No, yeah, it was definitely.
Talk me back through like school and stuff. Were you very sporty at school?
I used to hate sport at school. I used to want to bunk PE lessons.
Really? That bad?
Yeah, so I used to pretend that I didn't have my PE kit some days. Did
you used to write your own notes?
Yeah. There was a time where my friend and me, I'm still friends with her, she locked her PE teacher in the, you know, you get the store cupboards, because we just didn't want to have that lesson. So she locked the PE teacher.
Did she get away with that?
She didn't, obviously. We had to eventually let him out.
Did he know? So he knew? He knew,
yeah. He knew it was her. But I still talk to her from this day onwards. I always remember that moment. I just didn't
enjoy PE.
I did not enjoy PE.
What were what sports were like predominantly when you were at school? What were they?
Badminton, rounders, netball, gymnastics. A lot of gymnastics.
So a lot of sport. I would have said that you may, you know, from an outside looking in, you would have enjoyed those sports.
No, I think because I was on the heavier side when I was in high school, and I used to compare myself to the other students in my class where they could do these things. You know, with me, that when I start comparing myself, I don't enjoy doing that specific task or activity. So
you felt like that even at school, that you were comparing against.
Yeah.
Where do you think that came from? Was that like pressure externally? Was that put on yourself?
I think I have quite low self-esteem, and I always compare myself to others, and I say, oh, you know, I use the word skinny and I use the word fat quite a lot to myself, no one else. But even when I talk to my friends or my cousins, I always say, oh, you know, I need to lose some weight. I'm looking fat in this, or I'm looking fat in that. So that's always been the case for me, and I can't get that stigma out of my head. Essentially, I don't know what it is. It's there.
Do you think that could be something from like growing up, like childhood, like really early childhood? Did you idolize people when you were growing up, like celebrities?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I did. I think social media has a big impact on it as well. Like, I've come off social media recently.
Well, I think that's quite good. I think everyone that comes on, we have a quick discussion about social media and the impact it has on them. It is very draining. I mean, obviously we have it for the business, but I personally have it. I don't really use my personal one. But spending time to interact and communicate is it can be a full-time job.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that like, I think it's also the messages that you see, like as in like you see things on your screen, and then that ignites something in your head.
It triggers something.
Yeah, and you look at something a little bit differently.
And I think social media has got so much, like there's so
very
many,
toxic.
Yeah, I think it's really toxic for especially young girls, I would say.
Because what age group do you teach?
A level, so you know.
So that mainly that age group that would.
Yeah, and we have so much in school for them, in the sense that we need to be really careful with safeguarding, you know, online, on Instagram, you know, because there's so much online bullying, you know, so there's so much now. It's prominent.
Obviously we saw that there's a lot of, like, even in the, I don't think it matters what age, because obviously, like, even for the football and stuff, there was obviously racism, there was a lot of bullying and stuff in that sense. But I guess as an adult, it's not looked as bullying. It's looked as another, like as a kid, it's really. It stems from like years, right?
Yeah.
So do you find that now, like the kids that you teach, Like, how long have you been teaching?
Oh God, 9 years.
9 years. Have you seen like there's been a change through this, not through the social media platforms, but like how kids behave each year according to?
So I think that nowadays they're glued to their phones.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you see them in lessons trying to, you know, Snapchat someone, or even like even if there are incidents in school, the first thing they'll do is they bring out their camera. They won't see, you know, is it, you know,
person
that might be my friend, or is the person all right? Everything is just, you know, you need to record it or you need to take a photo of it. Anything embarrassing happens, they'll take a photo of it. And it's just a bad culture to be in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and even if you look at like concerts or football matches and things like that, the recent obviously events of the European Cup final, Euro Cup final. Or, obviously, I won't talk too much about England and Italy because I'll get some stick. But for the penalties, you could see like there's people there in the atmosphere, like there, and they're recording it off their phone. I know that maybe you want to capture the moment.
Yeah.
But then the first thing that people do is then go like upload. It's like, well, the whole fucking world's watching this.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have like 100 friends on your Instagram or whatever you've got, and each one of them has uploaded a story on the penalties that you've just watched. You know, it's a bit crazy. It is very toxic.
It's a lot of pressure as well, I think. Like when I go out with my friends, it's always, you know, let's take a photo of this, let's take a photo of our meal, let's take a photo. That I think has gone down for me so much now that I'm off social media. I don't need to take photos. Who am I taking it for?
Yeah.
And if I take a photo, I'll take it of me with my friends, and that's for memories.
Yeah.
Essentially, not to put on Instagram, you know.
Because the social media platforms have probably been pretty big for the last like 9-10 years. So obviously when you first started teaching, how much of an impact do you think it had then?
I don't think it was that prominent when I first started teaching. I think it's more now in the sense
last few
that,
years.
Yeah, there's more going on.
Because I don't think like the reality TV programs help that situation.
Not like, you know, Love Island and
I mean, I don't watch it.
I'm watching it. I'll put my hands up for that.
It is brain dead TV. It is just waste of time. Okay, so hated sports at school.
Yes.
Used to pull notes that were not real. Finished school and decided to do A-levels.
Yes.
What did you do at A-levels? Did you know your career? Because obviously you said about the NHS.
I've always wanted to be a teacher. So my mum used to come into my room and I used to have pretend kids. I used to have
invisible ones.
Invisible ones. So when I was a little kid, this wasn't like
well, not last year.
Not last year, no. And then I used to pretend to teach invisible kids. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. I got inspiration from my business teacher as well. Her name was Miss Begum, and she, like, you know, she inspired me to be specifically going to business and economics. So I did my A-levels, and I was at a bit of a low point where I didn't have a job. And
this is 18 now, yeah?
Yeah. I wanted to obviously earn some money. So my mum, she was working in the NHS, so she managed to get me a job within the healthcare visiting department. So I was there for a year. At first, I didn't get into teaching. So my first interview was, it just didn't work out. So my mum was like, oh, you know, you're working for the NHS now, you know, why don't you become a nurse? And I was just like, Mum, I don't like blood. And she goes, no, but it's not all about that. I go, but yeah, it is, because you have to take blood, you may have to clean blood eventually. So I said, maybe that's not for me. And I can't do night shifts as well, because all of that's included in nursing.
I don't think people can maybe consider that.
They don't understand the pressure of it. So I said, no, I want to do teaching. So I applied for both nursing and teaching. Because with the teaching, you have to pass an interview to even do your PGCE. So that's the postgraduate degree that you need to get into.
For teaching?
So,
what did you study at uni then?
Business management.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was obviously because of that teacher?
Yeah.
When you teach business now?
Where?
No, when? What kind of modules, what do you teach? What's the, like, the curriculum? What do they teach?
So, you know, they go into marketing, human resources, finance. They learn a lot about finance. So, you know, ratio analysis, cash flow forecasting, essentially building your own business.
Do you find that there's a lot of kids that have got brilliant ideas, that are very good at it?
Yes. So that I find that a lot of students are, you know, eventually I've got a few students that come back to me and say, oh, you know, I've got a business now, I'm selling this, that, this. Their social media platform is big on Instagram. You know, I follow some of them. I used to follow some of them, and yeah, there are some students that go on to opening up their own businesses.
Because it'd be quite, it's quite fascinating. Obviously, the last like 12 to 18 months that people haven't been able to go to work. A lot of people have opened their own things and started their own thing at home. Yeah. So obviously, the kids that you've been teaching. Have a great opportunity to maybe put that into practice.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's especially with the day and age that we live in, like with the social media platforms kind of making things fake, like how, as in they're showing that being successful is really, really easy.
Yeah.
And like image is very important and stuff. Do you find that you get a lot of kids choose business because they think
they can make easy money? Yeah.
And ends up actually failing at the course.
Yeah.
There are a lot
of our GCSE students, because they're much younger, they're quite, you know, when they see all of this on social media, they absorb all that information. So, oh, you know, I'll open my business and I'll make this amount of money, and I'm just like, no, it's not that easy. You know, sometimes majority of small businesses at first do fail. But yeah, you do get those type of students that think, oh, if I take business, I'll be able to open up a business.
Yeah, just by doing the course.
By doing the course. And, you know, we have to tell them, no, you need to kind of build your skill set. You need to have the background to it.
Is there part of the curriculum that they actually have to, not necessarily open a business, but like go through some sort of like process of...
So we used to have Young Enterprise.
Oh yeah, that's it. Did you do that?
That used to be fun.
With the council?
Yeah. That used to be fun. We used to do that. They used to set up our own product. No time for it now. Schools / that, well, my school anyway, we need to get through the specification. We need to get these grades. We just don't get time to do it anymore.
Which is a shame, because
even work experience, they don't get to do anymore.
They don't?
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we don't do work experience. So that's where students actually realise whether they want to go down the apprenticeship route, or the degree route. To be fair,
I'm actually not surprised at the lack of opportunity for work experience, because I did it when I was at school. But that obviously was the best part of like 15, 16 years ago. But as an employer, especially now, knowing what I know and having taught students too, it is very difficult to give someone that experience when I don't know what the right terminology is, when they are so behind in terms of socially, like where, you know, in terms of their thought process of like turning up to college without a pen or piece of paper.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
I know. I used to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not surprised that work experience doesn't, which is a shame though, because especially in business.
But then it's not fair on those that would excel in work experience and those that would actually strive. Yeah. It is a shame.
Because some of the kids that study business, I would imagine, are you know, the key buzzword of entrepreneurs, are really ready to go for that and probably have great ideas, but need that experience or connection with, you know, networking with someone to be able to do it. That's a shame. Okay, so done that at uni. And where was like sport and fitness come into this? How were you at uni in terms of like your fitness? Was it a priority for you? Were you just enjoying uni life?
I used to go to the gym quite a lot at uni.
Did you stay at uni or you stayed at home?
At home, and that was more because my brother doesn't live out, so I couldn't live out it's just part of our culture. So I used to go, because at uni you don't have many lectures or whatever, you got half day. I used to
in your first year, and your second year, and your third year,
essentially. So I used to go to the gym quite often. I was part of the gym group, where I had several PTs, as I said before. But yeah,
what made you when you was at the gym group say, right, I want to invest in a personal trainer?
Change my body. I wanted to change my body. I wanted to become a bit more stronger. You know, I wanted to, and I saw the results that certain personal trainers.
Well, that was going to be my next question is how did you decide which one that you wanted to go for?
Yeah, results.
Because in commercial gyms as such,
Yeah.
there are a lot of trainers.
Yeah.
Some literally just qualified yesterday.
Yeah.
So you kind of looked at their background, not their background, but their evidence-based results.
Yeah, the results. And there's like in the gyms now, they've got these display.
Profiles.
Yeah, so you can see their profiles, what they specialize in, what I wanted to look for more. So, which was more so fat loss, etc. So yeah. And
how long were you, before you started CrossFit, how long were you in the gym environment where you took on was it a year through personal training, 2 years through personal training?
So the most amount of time that I was with a personal trainer was a year.
A year?
Yeah.
What was the? I know kind of the intent of why you got the, but what was the motive to keep turning up? Were you still enjoying the sessions? Was you getting closer to your goal?
I was getting closer to my goal. I was becoming stronger. But then there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm dreading these sessions now, so I'm going to stop it.
Why did you start to dread them?
Because this specific personal trainer was like, he was a bit too pushy and he got a bit too comfortable. He was recording everything and I just felt really uncomfortable because the angles he was recording stuff in.
Yeah, sometimes it
was just putting me off.
Yeah, might not be flattering.
And he was just pushing me a bit too much where my body couldn't really handle it. I was getting really lethargic, really tired.
And how many times a week were you doing it?
3 times.
Okay. Were you doing gym on top of that as well?
Yeah. So I was getting really tired and...
Well, that's a lot of training.
Yeah.
How did you find managing that with work? Because you would have been training 7 hours a week.
Yeah.
If you're doing it every day.
Yeah.
7 hours a week is a lot of training.
So I was going to gym and then I was coming home and doing some workout. I was a bit obsessed with working out for a little amount of time, and I was like, yeah, this is not good for my body now.
I think it's safe to say that when people begin to exercise, you start to develop a little bit of body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
It might not be a serious case of it, but because you become more conscious of how you look.
Yeah.
You start to look in reflections. You start to think about fitting of clothing. You start to think about the foods that you eat.
Yeah.
And it puts you into like a little category where everything you do is subconscious about something else.
Yeah.
So you were managing that with work, going home and doing more workouts, and that's why you realised that you were actually fucked and tired. And,
And then I was just like, no, I can't be doing this. I can't carry on.
So how much did you invest in terms of education and time in the foods that you ate?
The food?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, he gave me a plan, but the plan wasn't really meeting my needs because it was a lot of meat-based products, etc. And obviously...
And being vegetarian,
so it wasn't really meeting my criteria. So...
Why would he not just give you something?
You just get a meal plan off the internet and then he charges you for that. But
right.
when okay, you're charging me for something that you've just got from the internet and you've not catered it to me. So then I was like, do you know what? This is a waste of my money essentially because it's not.
So this was printed, you said, right, do this.
Yeah. And then I did it for a bit. And then I thought, do you know what? I can't keep up with this because it was just not a lot of meals. I was getting tired and I didn't really have time to meal prep because I was at uni. Food wasn't really a big thing at that time. I couldn't commit to it.
Okay, so you commercial gym, done the PT side, and then left uni. You obviously we went through the jobs where you had the two, and chose teaching.
Yeah.
In your early, if you look back now to your early teaching style, or career, let's say, what would you change now, 9 years later?
I wouldn't have gone into teaching.
Okay.
I would want to have gone into maybe banking. And I say that because I've started teaching economics and I love it. And I don't think teaching is doing what it's meant to be doing for me. I used to love teaching, and I would say that I don't love it so much now because of the pressure that teachers get from the top, and it's more about schools have become more about, you've got a child on the seat, we're getting money for that child, essentially. They need to get the good grades. And it's changed, and I'd rather be there for the child, try and facilitate change the way that I teach, essentially. But it's not like that, it's all about results.
So you would have gone into banking? That's because from what you've taught over the 9 years, you've learned more about banking?
Yeah, and now I think I've got the skill set to do much more than what I'm doing right now, essentially.
Have you thought about changing career?
I think I'm too old.
Never too old. Why would you be too old? There's people that don't start a business till they're like 50.
Yeah,
people that don't get married till like they're in their 40s.
Yeah, Rajan, my husband, he's like, you should think about changing it. But the only reason he's saying that is because the holidays cost so much money for us in the 6 weeks that I'm off. So, but
as a teacher, what do you do in your 6 weeks? How do you take your time? Because obviously that's your time now.
Yeah.
How do you take your time back?
I meet friends. Like this weekend, I'm going for a spa. Normally, I would be away abroad, but COVID fucked it up, so obviously can't go abroad. But I would be out for 2 weeks, just enjoying the sun. Sometimes I'll go into school. So like this 6 weeks, I have to go into school to do some revision sessions. So yeah, I just spread it out. I do come here quite often because I'm off.
Yeah. Well, it's utilising that time. That's also things that you enjoy.
And I just rest because I know that when it goes back to September, it's just going to be non-stop.
Do you do anything associated with work during the summer holidays? You do?
Yeah, there's this big stigma that, teachers are off for 6 weeks where they don't do any work. It's not the case.
Never had 6 weeks off?
No.
Never?
No.
Where you haven't had to look at your laptop or emails or anything like that?
No.
There'd always be something that you have to do.
There's always going to be something that you have to do. Essentially getting ready for September. So I've got a whole list to do this 6 weeks.
Because even if you're teaching the same modules,
it's different students in front of you.
Yeah.
Like my school right now, we're moving away from a certain, I don't know if you've heard of Frog. So it's like a certain platform. So we're moving away from that and we're going to OneDrive. So everything has to be moved onto OneDrive. So that's going to take a while because we've got all our stuff on Frog.
How are you adapting to the technology side? Because for some teachers... I
love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Some teachers don't enjoy it. It's easier to, whether the way they teach, whether it be through a whiteboard, whether it be through interactive exercises, in terms of like in person, but you like the technology side.
Yeah, because I'm in charge actually. So when we were within lockdown, I got promoted to be the EdTech lead. So
nice.
So I'm in charge of training teachers about all the new technology. So like MS Teams, what you can do with it, how you can deliver lessons through it. So I love it. I really do enjoy teaching.
Yeah, I've not used the Google stuff.
Okay.
Google
Classrooms is brilliant.
Yeah, I've actually heard.
Yeah, it's really good.
I just kind of when obviously the stuff that we've done online, we've done through Zoom. Zoom seemed to be the most popular for businesses. And I think Google was more popular for schools.
Yeah.
So how much of your week do you spend in that role?
Sorry,
in that role, how much of your week do you spend in that role?
I normally try. So we don't get allocated.
Oh, you don't?
No. So I'm still teaching a full timetable, but this is me doing stuff after school, before school, or my weekends.
Do you find that teachers are learning how to it's quite simple?
Yeah, so they're learning.
No matter their age, because obviously the older the teacher is, the harder it would be to teach that to that person.
Yeah, but do you know what? They're getting on with it. Fine. They ask me questions if they need to, because I've got different age groups of teachers.
Okay.
So yeah.
Talk to me about your intermittent fasting.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
Are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those watching, tell them how you do it.
So it's more so that I start eating at my lunchtime. So it's I do the 8-hour fast. not 8-hour fast, sorry, 8-hour eating period, and then the 16-hour fast.
16 hours eating, 8-hour fast.
Yeah, that's not intermittent fasting. That's just eating.
Okay, so you do 8 hours on, basically.
16 off.
16 off. So in those 8 hours, what do you like? How do you do it? Do you eat anything?
No. I try to restrict what I
plan meals.
Yeah, I try and bulk prep my meals.
I was gonna say you're trying to bulk, it?
I bulk prep my meals, so I normally do like a 3-day prep.
Okay, so you spend some time organising that.
Yeah, when I get time.
When you get time, and if you don't?
And if I don't, I just go to M&S, get like a salad or whatever it is that.
And do you do that Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday?
Monday to Friday.
And Saturday, Sunday?
Sunday, I try not to do it. And I'll see how it is. If I'm going out, let's say, then I'll just eat a meal with my family or friends. But I try and do it Monday to Friday.
And you've been doing intermittent fasting for how long?
More than a year now.
More than a year. So your first meal is around midday?
Yeah.
Even when you're at school?
Yeah.
And then your last meal obviously would be before 8 o'clock?
Yeah. If I come here, then it will be after CrossFit.
What would your... and how many times a week, how many times in a day would you eat in that 8 hours?
I try to eat 3 times, but sometimes it's 2.
Would it be sometimes 1?
No.
No, always 2.
Yeah.
Do you find that because of the fast, because you go for a long time without food, do you find that on Saturday and Sundays, do you find that you want to eat more than you normally would?
No, I don't actually. Even on Saturday, I automatically don't eat before 12 because I'm just not hungry.
You just trained your body to start doing
it's
that.
just like a lifestyle. It's more your body adapts to it because the longer you do it, I don't need to eat anymore. Like I don't need to have breakfast.
But you found it works for you?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's there's obviously going to be people listening on this and thinking, oh, I'm going to give intermittent fasting a go, going to not eat for the 16 hours, but it doesn't work for everyone.
No, it doesn't. So my colleague at work tried it, and she said that she actually started putting on weight, but the reason behind that was because in her eating period she was just
eating too
binging.
Much. Yeah, and that's what.
And it make that, and people don't understand that. You know, you need to still control during your eating period.
Yeah, you know, it works for you. That's brilliant. That's good. Doesn't work for everyone, and that's what people think is that in those 8 hours it means that they can eat anything they want, and it's actually just still being aware, like if you're going to do it from a calorie perspective, that if you're supposed to eat 2,000 calories in that day, you're still eating them within those 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then you still or not so much suffer from asthma?
Yes, I do.
Still, how's it improved with fitness?
It's improved massively actually. When I first started CrossFit, I don't know if you remember, I severely suffered with asthma when I was running. I hate running, but asthma used
I know that loud and clear.
Asthma used to pull me back a lot.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did you develop that as a kid?
Yeah, my mum.
So you've always had
it.
Because it would put you off, right?
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, look, you do it, you get on with it. There might be a little bit of sulk sometimes, a little bit of moan, but when there are running workouts that come out, you're obviously a lot more confident now.
Yeah.
With running, because you went out through lockdown quite a lot.
Yeah, so I actually started doing a lot of running, and I obviously spoke to you about it, saying I want to try and get 5k done within half an hour, and I managed to do it.
But you started. I want to stop there because you actually started really, really small, and I want to make this quite clear to people that you didn't go from 0 to 5k.
No. You
built it. You went from 0. I think the running
1K.
The running thing that I sent you. Yeah.
It was really helpful because you realise what your limits are, and I think it's not about being fast. It's more about being consistent throughout your whole run.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that first running thing that I sent you, I think I put for you that in your first week, I think you only was running 1k twice a week. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
And then in your second week was two 1Ks or and then 1.5 or 2k. Yeah. And it was just building, and it was just slowly building up from that.
Yeah.
And you've become a lot more comfortable with running. Yeah. You hit the goal of 5k.
Yeah.
So now would you say, what is your goal with the running side of things?
I want to, there's been a recent downturn in that because I've not really had the time being at school. Now I'm obviously going to push that up again. I want to try and get more. But I've been trying to do a bit more walking now as well. You know, trying to get more steps in.
Have you taken part in park run and stuff?
No.
You've not done that? So that I mean, I'm throwing goals at you here.
Yeah.
They're my goals for you. But that could be something that you do. Once you continue, get back into the running process, that could be a good thing to measure. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but you've built it from 0 to 5. That's really, really good. Okay, so moving kind of forward, what are your plans for the next, like, let's go fitness plans first for the next like 6 or so months. Or 6 or 12 months. What do you want out of the next 6 to 12 months of your fitness?
I want to become a bit stronger.
Okay.
In certain exercises. So like my deadlifts, I want to push them up again because, you know, I love deadlifts, squats. Just build my strength back, because I think during lockdown, the second lockdown, I would say, I lost a lot of my strength.
That was one of the long. Was that the short one?
That was the shorter one.
Short one.
But I didn't get through as many home workouts in the second one as I
think life caught up with everyone.
Sorry?
Life caught up with everyone, I think.
And I had to go back into work.
Yeah.
So it slowed me down, I would say, especially because I didn't have as much equipment at home as well. Some weeks I would go 4 or 5 days without exercising. So I want to build up my strength, you know, get through certain movements,
more comfortable,
heavier weight and more comfortable, better form.
And obviously, if you've been running and not applying strength training, naturally your strength is gonna reduce as well.
Yeah.
So okay. And then personal goals. What goals have you got? I don't know. Maybe the next 3 to 5 years, the next year. What do you want out of life for the next couple of years?
Well, if I don't leave teaching, essentially, I actually want to look for a career promotion.
Okay.
So I want to either, you know, lead a department, or, well, I've actually applied for, I don't know if you've heard of like a SLT secondment. So it's a senior leadership teacher.
Team member, yeah.
And they train you to be a senior leader. So I want to kind of go up
the ranks a little bit more.
Sorry?
Up the ranks.
Yeah.
More. How long would that take? What's that process?
So it's a year where they train you, and then.
But are you still teaching?
And you're still teaching, so you're on a full timetable, but you have to run a whole school project essentially. Yeah. So I want to do that. I want to, you know, go up the ranks in that sense, because at the moment I'm in charge of the disadvantaged students in the whole school. You may know that as pupil premium. The students that are on free school meals,
I can't remember the terminology that it was used at this college, but yeah, so, you know, go up the ranks, I would say. If not, then maybe train to be a banker. Well, I'm glad that you said that. I don't think you should write that off.
No, I think I'm going to
possible.
spend some time this holiday researching into it.
What about the obviously, because you've got a role in the tech side, have you thought about making that more prominent? Sorry, I've got a fly on my head. It's really it's sat on my head twice. Okay, Sheena, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Really good to talk to you. And guys, join us again next week.